How's it going?
Hi, how can I help you?
I'm here for an appointment at 1:30.
Okay, the nurse will be out shortly to come and get you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Henry?
Awesome.
Come on, this way. You can just have a seat here. The doctor will be with you in a minute.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, Henry.
How's it going?
How are you today?
Hey, not too bad. How you doing?
Good, good. Okay, let's just get you started today. Type in your name. Okay, so I'm going to start today off with a few questions.
Okay.
So first, how many hours of sleep do you get per night?
Probably like 8 or 9.
Good, good. Okay. Are you allergic to any medication that you know of?
Not that I know of.
Okay, are you taking any medication?
Not at the moment.
Okay, are you sexually active?
Yes.
Okay. Do you use a condom when engaging in sexual intercourse?
Sometimes, but not all the time.
Oh no, that's not very good. You're at the risk of getting sexually transmitted diseases, such as the most common one, HPV.
But I thought that guys can't get HPV and only girls get HPV.
That's not true. Guys can get HPV too. Let me tell you a little bit about HPV. So the scientific name of HPV is the human papillomavirus. And you can get it in many ways. So first let me tell you about how you know if you have it, some of the symptoms. So sometimes HPV comes and goes on its own with no symptoms, but other times you can get genital warts, which are an indication of HPV infection. So genital warts can take on many different appearances. They can be raised, flat, pink, or flesh-colored, and sometimes they can even be shaped like a cauliflower. Sometimes there's a single wart, other times multiple warts appear. They can be small or large, and there can be anywhere near your genital area. And these genital warts can show up weeks or even months after sexual contact with a person who's been infected with HPV before. And that person may not even know that he or she's infected, and you might get it from them. So that's one symptom of HPV. Another thing that can occur after you get HPV is many types of cancer that are associated with HPV, including cervical cancer for women and cancer of other genital parts for both men and women. And you really want to avoid these, and so you really want to not get HPV. So let me tell you some of the risk factors that are associated with HPV, how you can get them. So genital HPV can be transmitted from mother to child during birth, but the appearance of HPV-related diseases in newborns is really rare. But since you're not a girl, you don't need to worry about that. So HPV can be transmitted through any kind of sexual contact, through genital area contact, or also from via hand to genitals. But usually non-sexual contact of any way has nothing to do with HPV. So it's only you don't really need to be worried about that. So sharing possibly contaminated objects like needles can also sometimes cause HPV, so you need to worry about that. And sometimes, like I said earlier, the thing to worry about the most is that even if the other person does not have HPV, or you don't know if they have HPV, if the symptoms aren't visible, they can still be transmitted. So there are a lot of risk factors, so you need to avoid all those things that I mentioned. And this is something you really need to worry about because the prevalence rates of HPV are really high. About 79 million Americans are currently infected with HPV, and about 14 million people become newly infected every year. And HPV is so common, actually, that most sexually active men and women will get at least one type of HPV at any point in their lives. So I just told you about the health problems related to HPV, such as genital warts and cervical cancer. Regarding genital warts, about 360,000 people in the United States get genital warts every year, and more than 11,000 women in the U.S. get cervical cancer every year. So while you don't need to worry about that, your partner may have to worry about that. But don't worry, I might be scaring you, but there's many things you can do to prevent, and if it occurs, treat HPV. So let me tell you about that a little bit. So you can get vaccinated, HPV vaccines are safe and effective, and they can protect both males and females. Usually you only think it's females, but males too, against diseases, including cancers caused by HPV, when given in the recommended age groups, which you are in. And HPV vaccines are given in 3 shots over 6 months, and it's really important to get all 3 doses. And it's important for you to tell, if you're with a female partner, to remind her to get routinely screened, especially if she's between the ages of 21 and 65, and that can help her not get cervical cancer. So, and if you're sexually active, as you said you are, the best thing you can do to prevent HPV and many other STDs is use latex condoms the right way every time you have sexual intercourse. And this can lower your chances of getting HPV. But remember that HPV can also infect areas that aren't covered by a condom. So condoms may not give full protection, so it's still really important to take other kinds of precautions. Another precautionary measure you can take is to be in a mutually monogamous relationship, just have one partner, so there's no chance of transmitting more STDs. But you're still young, so maybe that might not be the case yet. So in case you do transmit HPV, unfortunately there's no treatment for the virus itself. However, there are treatments for the health problems that HPV can cause. So genital warts can be treated by your physician. And sometimes even if they aren't treated, they may go away or just stay, but sometimes they might grow in size or number. And cervical precancer can be treated for women, but the best thing women can do, which you should tell any female partners you're with, is to, like I said earlier, routinely get pap smears and tests, because it's always better to screen before. Prevention is always better than treatment. And other kinds of cancers, the sooner you diagnose them, the easier it is to treat them. So you really should take these precautionary measures I talked about, like getting vaccinated and wearing a condom, to prevent getting any HPV.
But I mean, if I haven't gotten it yet, is it really that big of a deal? Like, do I really need to switch up what I'm doing?
Let me convince you. I'm going to use the health belief model.
And what's that?
I'll walk you through it. So the first step is you need to understand the perceived severity of contracting HPV. So you probably don't want genital warts or the risk of exposing future partners to HPV or any kind of cancer that results from HPV for either you or your partner, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, you're also quite susceptible to getting HPV since you don't yet have one monogamous partner and you've already had sexual intercourse without being protected, so you're currently at risk for HPV. So do you understand that you're susceptible?
Yes.
Okay, so the perceived benefits of taking these precautions is that you don't need to worry about getting STDs, such as HPV, and also if you were to wear condoms, you wouldn't have to worry about the risk of pregnancy either. So there are a lot of benefits. So the barrier to these measures would be, you'd have to come back to the doctor's office 3 times to get the shots, and then you'd also have to go through wearing a condom during sexual intercourse.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of those barriers.
Well, don't you think, though, that the benefits outweigh the barriers?
Yeah, I think I'm starting to get your point.
Yeah, okay. Great. Just to make sure you remember to cue you to action, I'm going to sign you up for the monthly emails that my office sends about safe sex